By the time I got home, it were done. I boiled the kettle and made a mazel cup of tea, and I put on the radio and I lay down on the sofa. And here was this programme about Oliver Cromwell, and how about he died when he was given a state funeral on board in Westminster Abbey. But when Charles II was restored to the throne, they took Cromwell out of the vault where they put him, and executed him for killing Charles I. They dragged his body through the streets, hung it by table and by day, and they cut down the chapel ladders and stuck it on a land wooden pole at Westminster Hall. And it stayed there for 25 years, so folk wouldn't forget what he'd done. Killed the king, and then he ain't never think about it themselves. And then there was storm, and the wooden pole broke, and Cromwell's head rolled down, it went missing, but later turned up in private museum. On where museum? Head, it was Cromwell's. But how do you prove it after all this time? And I was lying there on the sofa listening to this, and I started to think about people and they with their heads on spikes, and I started politicians moving to celebrities. Pretty soon I was in double figures, and that's running out. But funny enough, whenever I thought about somebody I knew, I really meant, and I hated it, and I thought I hated my ex-wife's mother, or my boss, or some of my neighbours, I couldn't imagine putting their head on spike. No, not for 25 years, not ever for 25 minutes, if I'm honest. And I went through my list of family's folk, and I started to take their heads back down because I didn't like them. Even Maggie Thatcher, the first on the list, I even took her doing. And then I fell asleep and I woke up and my tea was cold.